In this lesson, let's talk about nest boxes, because nest boxes, while they just seem like a small component of an egg enterprise, they are a huge part of keeping of efficiency, not just efficiency for gathering, but especially efficiency for putting away eggs to keep them clean. One is, we've alluded to this already, but the nest boxes needs to be above chicken eye level. So wherever the chicken's eye level is when they're walking, the nest boxes need to be up above that so that those chickens, they can't just peer into the nest box. That ability to peer in, when they see something that they're interested in, then they go for it, and when they can peer in, they're gonna, they're gonna cause trouble. We don't want them to loiter around the nest boxes, so they've got to be above eye level. The material, the bedding material in the nest box should be inedible. And I'm going to really stress this because so many people think, oh, I want nice, clean, real nice, clean material in there. Well, the clean, if you put some nice alfalfa hay or any kind of nice hay, Bermuda grass, whatever, put some nice material in there. Straw, straw notoriously, it's got little pieces of grain off of it that the combine didn't get, still hanging on. Well, now you've got some barley or oats or wheat or rye or something hanging in there. Well, the chickens, boy, they love those little fresh raw grains like that. Those are little treats. They're like candy bars for them. So they're going to be attracted to go in there. So my advice is to really make sure that your bedding material is not edible. Some people want to use, wood shavings. I don't have any problem with that. In the commercial houses, when I was growing up, we had a neighbor that had a breeder hen thing, and I'd go help him gather eggs out of there, and they had little wood straw pads that they actually put in the nest boxes, and that's what they use. I don't think they use that anymore, but that's what they used back then. The point is that the wood straw was a very unappealing, chickens don't want wood, they don't want to eat wood, so there was no bug, there was no chaff, there was no seed, there was nothing there to attract the chickens. So our favorite is junky, the moldiest, junkiest, rained on hay you can imagine. Use that for your bedding material. There's nothing in there that the chickens find edible or desirable. Now, the rollout nests that a lot of people use that are considered an answer, I think that doesn't honor the chickenness of the chicken. We talked about thinking like a chicken, and the chicken wants to go in and she wants to make a nest. And I like to see a chicken get in there and make her nest and hunker down and settle down and get comfortable in a nest, not just go in and sterile and drop it on a piece of astroturf. That just doesn't honor the chickenness of the chicken. So, that's where I am on those rollouts. And I think to be fair, most of the time, I think rollout nests are a cure for not doing all these other things that I'm talking about with a nest box. So people get frustrated. Oh, I've got dirty eggs. Oh, I can't keep the chickens out of the nest boxes. They got all these issues, so I'll just go to rollout nests. No. Let's get a better situation, a better habitat first. And then I think generally the rollout nests are unnecessary. I can tell you that our benchmark is no more than 10% of the eggs should have to be washed. If you have to clean more than 10% of your eggs, there's something wrong with your management. And it could be any number of things, but a lot of it centers around and has to do with this whole nest box thing. The next part is the perch board. So what we want is an exclusion perch board in front, so remember, these nest boxes now, they're above eye level, so the chicken has to jump up onto a perch and then find a nest box to go into. So as the chicken goes into this nest box, this hinged perch board in front serves both as a perch during the daytime, and when you gather eggs in the evening, you flip that up and that becomes an exclusion at night, so the chickens don't roost in there. I don't know how many places I've seen where the chickens are actually sleeping in the nest boxes. Well, you know what a chicken does wherever she sleeps? She leaves manure wherever she sleeps. And so Now you've got manure in your nest box. Now you've got a dirty egg, and now you've got inefficiency, and you got all sorts of issues. So the exclusion perch board in the front of each of the row of nest boxes that hinges up and down to serve as a perch and exclusion is critical for maintaining those clean eggs. Next concept is the high front retainer. Okay. I don't know what the what the commercial technology term is for this, but you want a high enough, at least 6 inches. The nest boxes are usually about 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches deep, and you want a front retainer at least 6 inches high. You say, well, the chicken has to kind of scrunch to get in there. Yes, they certainly do. If she wants to get in there, she'll get in there. She can get through 6 inches, not a problem. And in fact, that helps her to be able to have more privacy, to hunker down. It again helps to protect the eggs from anything from outside seeing in at them and being attracted to go in there and be mischievous. And it also keeps the bedding in, so they're not scratching out the bedding. Makes it more difficult to scratch it all. If you don't have a high retainer board in front, if you only got a 1 or 2 inch lip in the front, chickens can easily go in and scratch out that bedding. If you have a 6 inch retainer, then they can't physically get in there and scratch and mess things up, because that retainer board, that high retainer, is giving them too big a lip to get in and scratch over. That's the idea. Which brings me to the next point of the nest box: is the darker the better, and that you don't want your chickens laying in dark corners and things like that. You want the nest box to be the darkest spot in the living quarters, okay? And so like in the Eggmobile even, we see the chickens choose different boxes based on its orientation to morning sunlight. One day, they'll use this bank of nest boxes. Next day they'll use these nest boxes based on where the sunbeams are coming in. And so in a typical situation, you want to situate those nest boxes opposed to the sunlight as much as possible. Can't do it all the time, so as much as possible. So in the hoop houses, we try to orient these nest boxes in general east and west, so we always have a good northern group that never gets sunlight in them, and that's what the chickens use more than any others. How many nest boxes do you need? We like to have at least 1 box per 10 hens, and that seems to be enough. You don't want to put in more than necessary, because then you just have more to check, more to look at, and more to close up in the evening when you gather, right? So you don't want to use too few, because then you have too many eggs in one nest, and then they'll start breaking them when the birds keep coming in and walking over them. The chances of breaking one is a big deal. And as soon as an egg is broken, then several of its neighbors are also going to get broken, because the chicken's going to, that yellow is going to go on the other eggs, and then they're going to eat those. So 1 box to 10 hens seems about enough, and that'll give you some nests with 8 in them and some nests with 3 or 4. That's fine. The chickens will find their boxes. And you've got to be meticulous about their design, about their setup, because they are that last step. You've done all these things, all the pasturing and the hatching, the raising the pullet, all that sort of thing. And that nest box is your final cradle, your final resting place to get your little gold nuggets, your eggs. And so you don't want to skimp on design, positioning, and construction of those nest boxes. So remember, above eye level, the bedding material needs to be despicable, inedible, even moldy and junky. Use your exclusion perch on the front end, a high front retainer, the darker the better, and roughly 1 box per 10 hens.